Off the back of another defeat, albeit in the Carabao Cup, we return to the London Stadium this weekend to face Burnley. In the fixture last season, we witnessed fan unrest, culminating with fans running on the pitch. We really hope we don't see the same again this weekend, but mind you, it happened against Spurs the other day. So before the preview, let's briefly discuss what happened against Spurs, Matt. You were there, I was there. What did you make of it?
It wasn't actually a great game in general, to be honest. Like, the fans went up for it. The players definitely went up for it. No one seemed to care. You looked at the stats, no one really shone out. We made a couple of mistakes and they capitalised on it. But that's just the way we normally play. You know we're going to make mistakes. You're going to get chances.
But that's the story of our season so far. We keep making mistakes and we keep getting punished for it. Do you think if that fan didn't run on at the time that he did, we were on the up at that time. Do you think there might have been a chance that we could have got back into it?
At the time, it looked like, I know we were still technically losing, but at the time it looked like only us were going to be the winners, because the second Arnie come on, the momentum changed. Everyone sort of started buzzing, got the goal. And the second that fan come on, I knew they were going to score.
Yeah.
Because everyone they ran straight for all the players in the 6-yard box and everyone was distracted. You're like, no one switched on now. And it was just a calamitous goal, wasn't it? It just summed it up. Like,
he distracted poor Ogbonna because Ogbonna tackled him, got him out of the way, and then he was completely put off his game. I felt really sorry for Ogbonna. But anyway, we move on. We move on to Saturday. We've got Burnley. Joe Hart is making his appearance against us. Isn't he going to have the game of the season, Matt?
Oh, absolutely, because it's the West Ham way. Let's go back to the fact that obviously Lloris didn't play last night, but he played against us, was it 12 days ago, and we lost 1-0, and he had his best game of the season. And then even then, since then, he's been absolutely fucking shocking. So, full well. And Joe Hart, to be fair, Burnley have shipped a few goals this season, but even so, Joe Hart's still been getting applauded. Like, there's not been a point yet where everyone's gone, oh, Joe Hart's had a shocker, Joe Hart's caused this goal, which is what he was constantly getting headlines for at West Ham. Like, he's made this mistake. Joe Hart's been keeping them in games when they've still been shipping goals. So if you come up against someone like us, he could be the difference for Burnley. You wouldn't be surprised at all.
And the problem is we don't have our shooting boots on. I mean, I know Perez got a goal against Spurs last night. Is that a concern if Joe Hart does have a blinder and we can't score for toffee at the moment?
It would be a concern. I'll be concerned if Arnie doesn't start. That would concern me. Because for the life of me, I mean, we've had it for 2 years now. We had 3 managers and they all play, whether it's been 5 at the back, 4 at the back, even 3 at the back at times. They've always played with one up front as a focal point. Might have spent 100 million in the summer. Might have brought in 10 players. But they never brought in someone who could take the workload off Arnie. There's no one else that can play that target role.
Do you think that
last night with Hernandez?
Yeah, but I think maybe that's because he thought, stupidly, he thought Carroll was going to be fit and Carroll was going to play, and lo and behold, Carroll got injured before the season even started. So, and maybe he was more determined on getting Hernandez, trying to sweeten Hernandez. So probably that's why he only went for a cheap option like Perez. But it looks, I mean, last night, Perez sort of got himself about a bit. Would you, if depending on who else is picked, would you put Perez in the starting lineup alongside Arnie? If
you're starting to up front, I would be tempted to play Hernandez because I know in that game, the game against Tottenham when we lost 1-0, when Hernandez come on for 20 minutes, Hernandez and Arnautovic were really good together. But if say we found out Saturday morning Arnie's not fit enough, he's going to be on the bench again, I would start Perez.
Yeah, I would start Perez too. Perez is a better player to play that lone sort of striker role.
Purely for the fact that even if he doesn't win the headers, like when he came on last night, he was prepared to run the channels.
Yeah.
And Hernandez won't do that. So if you're going to play one up front and it's not Arnautovic, at the moment I'd say Perez. Because at least he's going to run.
And that's a bit of a concern in the squad overall. We don't, it proved against Spurs, we don't really have strength in depth, do we? We don't really have the players that we thought we might have done at the beginning of the season. I remember when Pellegrini said he's got a player for every position. But there's some players that are so badly letting us down, or we've got injuries as well, that we don't no longer have that. Yarmolenko's out, as we know. Wiltshire's still out. Carroll's out, etc. Who would you start in midfield? We know Noble's not going to be there. So who would be your midfielders for Saturday? I think we already heard he's playing Anderson from what he said last night after the game.
I would assume Anderson's still playing on the wing. For me, he's midfield 3. You don't have a choice. There's only 3 players that can play there. It's Aubameyang, Rice and Snodgrass.
Yeah.
Which, surprisingly, I wouldn't have said at the start of the season. If you told me at the start of the season, I'd be saying, yeah, play Snodgrass in midfield 3. And I said, you're fucking high.
Yeah,
he doesn't play in midfield. But he's probably been, I wouldn't say he's been a standout performer, but he's been one of the consistent players this season.
Yeah, I've got to hold my hand up. I mean, because I'm not a Snodgrass fan, but
I'm not either. But he's proven everyone wrong. He got vilified by Bilic, slagged off by the owners, sent out to Villa, and you couldn't have blamed him for not wanting to come back.
Yeah,
and he's come back. He's proven everyone wrong, and he is now, like you said, he'll never be a Dimitri Payet. He's never going to be that skillful running attacker, but he'll put in a shift, and he understands that. Give 100%, and the fans won't moan at you.
And the fans were clapping him last night as well.
Because he was the only one running. Apart from Diangana, and that kid looks quality, he does look good. But apart from him, no one else was actually just running. Put the pressure on. So Snodgrass will get applause for it because, he's like, maybe it's the Scottish in him, but he's sort of like that, old school, hard-working bloke. He understands he's getting paid decent money, just go and have a run about.
Well, yeah, he's putting in a shift. Scottish or not, he's putting in a shift. Not all Scots put in shifts, we know that, but he's certainly putting in a shift. Talking of the youngsters, I mean, it's ironic. Last night, the 3 best players were Diop, Rice, and Diangana. It kind of showed a lot of the pros. What Anderson? I mean, we just mentioned him. He's going to play. Pellegrini has already said he's going to play on Saturday. What do you make of that, mate? I mean, it's like
some players take a while
shocking
to adjust, but then there's taken a while to adjust, and then there's actually just putting in effort. I mean, last night he generally looked lost. I don't think he actually knew what his position was, because I think last night should have been his opportunity to play as like the centre attacking mid behind the centre forward. But most of the first half, he looked like he was trying to play up front alongside Hernandez.
We don't know what he was told because he played centre attacking mid against Arsenal earlier in the season, and he looked really good. He received a lot of plaudits for that. So I'm just wondering if I don't know. We don't know what Pellegrini told him to do, but I'm wondering if Pellegrini actually did tell him to play further up front against Spurs. That's possible, but I guess we won't know.
He came out last night after the game, said he always knew, because obviously I was a bit confused when he came off at half time, thinking, is this Pellegrini pulling him off because he had a bad game? Is he injured? Apparently Pellegrini said, he was always only going to play 45 minutes.
That's right, yeah.
Now the thing for me is, if they've predetermined that, it does take away some of his motivation for playing. Because for him, if he's coming on in a cup game and they're going, regardless of what you do, you're coming off at half time, doesn't exactly give him motivation to go out and put a good performance in some ways.
Good point. Do you think also the Italian league that he played in, we all know it's a lot slower. It allows players like Anderson to have a lot more time on the ball, show their skills, etc., etc. Do you think maybe Anderson is a little bit shocked at the pace of English football?
I think,
and maybe that's having an impact.
I think it'll take him time to adjust because the Premier League is a lot faster, more physical than the Italian league.
Yeah.
But you saw with like Salah, it can be done.
Mm-hmm.
But even Salah went from Chelsea to Italy and came back again.
Yeah.
So it could be Anderson needs time to adjust to it.
Or the other thing that we've talked about in our little WhatsApp chat group is having players around him that are on his wavelength. We talked in the past about the likes of Payet, Lanzini, Arnautovic, Lanzini. Could it be that even though he's still a distance away from coming back to the first team, do you think someone like Lanzini could unlock the skills in someone like Anderson?
He does look frustrated at times because he looks to play a pass and he looks to do something and he looks at the players around him. I mean, fair enough, if he's playing someone like Declan Rice, who's really a centre-back, he's not going to be on that attacking wavelength. But it just seemed he got lumped up with Hernandez last night, and I know there was a point in the first half where I think Anderson pinched the ball, and he sort of played it in behind for Hernandez to run onto. Hernandez got there, but he's so slow. By the time he got it, he tried to cut it back to Anderson for another 1-2.
Yeah.
And Anderson's thinking, oh, quick 1-2, play it in again. Played in, and Hernandez jogged after it and then just let it go out for a goal kick. And Anderson was looking at him like, come on now, what do you want me to do about this?
Yeah.
Like, he's sort of getting frustrated that no one's... I think you're right, he's up there. But I think if you had him with maybe Lanzini... If you had an Anderson, Lanzini, Yarmolenko and Arnautovic up front together,
that would be
possibly
dynamite.
See an entirely different player, because I think he's a player that likes to, sort of like Chelsea and Man United do, where they all rotate round.
Yeah.
He likes to sort of rotate round the pitch, and the way the players we've got at the moment, he just physically can't do it.
Yeah.
Because the other players aren't good enough to rotate around with him.
I mean, he looked. I mean, even simple things. The last couple of games can't even seem to take a corner for Toffee. But I think, and it is just weird as to whether it is just. Is it a confidence thing? Is it that he can't be bothered? I don't believe a player goes out there and thinks I can't be asked. But I can understand why fans.
I could be at confidence. Because you do see it's always the same in the game. A team scores and all of a sudden, like last night, the second we scored, we had the confidence. We started bombing forward again.
Yeah.
So it could be a case of that. But I mean, the corner thing, I don't understand. Like Snodgrass needs to take him for like corner practice. Because Snodgrass took corners in the second half. We had that spell 15 minutes pressure. He put in about 6 corners, and every one of them was lethal. And you knew eventually we was going to score from one, and we did.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they were all penalty spot or far post. But I mean, Anderson took 4 corners in the first half. I think one of them beat the first man.
Yeah. Didn't even they didn't get high enough. They got about knee height.
Look, I thought it was Mark Noble taking corners.
Well, it's not that bad, was it? Let's move on to Burnley. We've just mentioned Joe Hart. He's probably going to have the game of the season, knowing our luck. Who are the people that we need to look out for? They've scored 10 goals, but from what you said earlier, they
seem to share them around. Yeah, no one's really. Sam Vokes hit a bit of a spell. I mean, Chris Wood, I think, scored a couple against us last year. He likes scoring. Goodmanson on the wings got a few of their assists this year. He seems to get a few assists. Aaron Lennon's supposed to be fit. Apparently he's playing. Even from his Tottenham days, he loved doing something against us, so he could be someone to watch out for. I mean, even if we go back to the game last year, they weren't that much better than us when we played them last year.
No.
But the second that first goal went in and the protest happened, then it all just fell apart. It
fell apart, absolutely, yeah. I don't see, I mean, it's I don't want to sort of, put the downers on this thing, but they're not a team that we should be afraid of. They're a very, very beatable team. And then certainly not the Burnley of last season where, they had good spell. Sean Dyche had them playing really well. They don't seem to be that sort of team this season. And we were above them on on goal difference this season.
Yeah.
So is it too early to say this is a 6-pointer?
I think it is a bit early. I mean, we're both sort of the bottom bit of mid-table. We're both sort of, you wouldn't look at either team and think they're going to be in trouble at the end of the season. Burnley's thing last year was they were built on the fact that they kept clean sheets. But I think they've already conceded 20 goals this year. They concede 2 goals a game. Yeah. That's the difference. I mean, I don't think they sold anyone this summer, but I think they haven't brought anyone in. Last year they got lucky. They didn't have many injuries. They didn't have many cards. So he was able to keep a really close-knit team together. And once you got them, they built momentum and kept going and going. And it was, they won half their games last year. They won 1-0. And this year, teams have found a way to beat them, to beat that solidity they had. And that's when they're now struggling. They can't keep clean sheets. But then again, neither can we. So
yeah, that's
tells you there's going to be goals in the game.
I mean, it's ironic. We keep saying this week in, week out that we're praising our defence this season. We're praising the likes of Zabaleta, Diop, Balbuena, Fabianski in goal, Rice just in front of them, and yet we're still shedding goals. It's the irony of it all. Like last season, we were really bemoaning our defence, and but we don't seem to be doing much better in keeping clean sheets.
I think the difference is this year. I mean, last night taken away because that was just a cup game. You never know what's going to happen. In the league, there's at least it's at the point now where we don't look like once we've conceded one, we're just going to collapse.
Yeah.
We did it.
Yes.
We did it Liverpool first game of the season, and they were still learning, and that was a completely different back four at the time. But even now, like we play Tottenham in the league, we lost 1-0.
Mm-hmm.
We're at least at the point now where we're stemming the fact that we're not shipping so many goals, which is aid to the fact that we're above Burnley on goal difference. But I think like we had that run of 3 games where we won all 3. We beat, we drew with Chelsea and beat United. We need a bit of luck to go our way again.
Yeah,
we've got rub with the green. We've got a couple of good results going, and since then, but Brighton was at a one shot on goal, pretty much, wasn't it? All game from Murray.
Yeah, it was.
The Wolves game, and like the last second of injury time, picked, scored. Tottenham game, Lloris had a game of his season again. It's getting there or thereabouts now. The football is a lot better to watch.
Agreed. Yeah.
You can't go back to that, David Moyes style. He has at least got us playing football. Back to a back 4 rather than a back 5. And the defence is getting there. It's going to eventually turn at some point, but you need a bit of luck. Will we get that against Burnley?
Well, we've got a big run of games between now and the end of the calendar year. I think Man City is the only team that we should be really, really wary of.
Man City, and then we've got Arsenal, I think on like the 12th of January.
Yeah.
And that's the only teams in, I would say, like the big 6 that we've got. So at least every other game you should look at as being at least winnable.
Absolutely.
Not going to winnable because West Ham, it's just not physically possible. But you wouldn't go looking into them going, I'm worried that we're playing them.
Yeah, but Saturday should be the starting point for these games coming up, shouldn't it?
It should be, but it's West Ham, so you never know.
Right. Well, what else do we want to cover? What's your team going to be for Saturday?
Fabianski will walk straight back in. I think Zabaleta will play. Diop, Balbuena. Left back, I have no idea. I don't think Pellegrini does. I think he flips a coin on Friday and he goes one side's heads and tails, Masuaku with Creswell. He flicks it and goes, oh yeah, he's playing today. Because again, Masuaku was fucking awful against Tottenham.
Well, I was just about to say, let's just touch on the left back for just a second, because the second goal went right through Masuaku's legs.
I was sitting in the other end. I was sitting in like the Bobby Moore upper, and I watched this ball come across. I was sitting by the corner flag, and I saw it. And I think, he's got to intercept this ball because they're going to be in. And when he got there, I thought, oh, thank God for that. And I don't even know how he like shanked it enough that it diverted it better into Son's pass than it already was. I just couldn't believe he'd managed to actually. Like, I don't think he could do that again if he tried.
Do you think that's got to be Masuaku's swan song? Because we're not saying that we all agree that Masuaku's not a left back.
Yeah, that's the issue. He's not a left back.
But it doesn't matter what player. Doesn't matter what player, what position a player plays. Controlling a ball is standard. Whether you're centre forward, left back, right back, whatever. But
the thing is, if he was under that much pressure to control it, should he not put his foot through it?
But he wasn't.
If he was that worried, because I'll give it, he was running sideways at pace, and maybe he was worried. But if he's that worried, why try and control it? Just put your foot through it.
I think Masuaku tries to be too clever for his own good sometimes, and I think he tried to fuck around with it.
He tried to control it and bring it down.
Yeah, he was, and he's got this tendency. He had this tendency to do it against Spurs throughout the game, where sometimes, sometimes laying off the ball and running and doing that. He didn't do the simple things, and he was trying to beat a player. And we know he can do it, but you can't do it all the time. And he was quite frustrating. And then it culminated in that mistake for their second goal. And I think that's it. That's his chance gone. Creswell's no better, but Creswell at least is a left back.
Well, I think I said it about 3 weeks ago. I said at this point I'd play Snodgrass at left back.
Yeah.
But the point is now we're now down 3 centre mids and we haven't even got the room to play Snodgrass at left back.
Yeah.
Because honestly, I think if playing Snodgrass at left back, he'd probably be more disciplined than Masuaku.
Might well be. That's a good point. So moving on, midfield and up front.
Midfield would be Obiang, Rice, Snodgrass. Can't play anyone else. No one else to play there. Anderson will play on one wing. I'm guessing for the fact that Anavic played half hour last night, he'll probably start on Saturday. The only other one's maybe the right wing. Personally, I'd play Dejan Garner.
Yeah.
I mean, Antonio probably had one of his best games of the season last night. But that's
Goodness
not
me.
really
If that was one of his best games, I don't want to see one of his worst.
That's the exact point I'm going to make. Like, that was one of his best games, and he was not. Like, it was. I think we got to about 10 minutes to go, and Arnautovic skinned the bloke on the wing last night, and he put this ball along the floor. He put the ball in, and Perez just missed it, and he come back out to Antonio on the far side. And at that point in time, if he looks up, it was like a 3-on-3 in the box. So you just lob the ball in and see what happens. And he just thought, no, I'm like fucking prime David Beckham here. I'm going to bend it in the top corner from 25 yards. And he just smacked it into orbit. Yeah, and at that point, the guy sitting next to me went, we're not winning today. And he just looked at him like, yeah. He doesn't know when to pick the right thing to do. Like, I don't know if he's overthinking things. But there was points last night. He was actually getting beyond the fullback. Like, it was on a sprint. He seemed to outsprint him, which is the fastest I've seen him run in about 6 months. He doesn't seem to run that fast.
He was a little bit faster last night. Yeah. He absolutely was. I think the best thing he did last night was when he went for that 1-to-1 and he shoulder barged that I don't know who it was for Tottenham. He shoulder barged him, almost shoved him off the pitch. That was probably the best thing he did last night.
But the thing to me is, like, once he realised he had the beating of him, once he had that sprint, because when he had that sprint, he was about 4 yards behind the fullback, and he still beat him to the ball, and he went around the goalkeeper, but he was too wide, and they tried to cross it back in. Yeah. But once he'd done that, he should have just known, if I get the ball, just chip it beyond him and run.
Did he do enough to replace either Diangana or Anderson?
Well, this is what I was going to say. For me, personally, no. I would play Diangana.
Yeah.
But it's up to Pellegrini.
Diangana was a diamond last night, and he's been getting better and better.
On the right-hand side they had Serge Aurier playing left back, who they paid 32 million for, and Diangana had him on fucking toast all night.
Agreed.
You knew, like, the only time that he didn't was when for some reason Pellegrini said, "I'll swap wings." And like, what?
Yeah, he did that for about 5 minutes. Yeah,
and I think he went, "Oh no, swap him back because Antonio couldn't do anything." But he just every time it was either the skill or the pace. He just went.
Yeah, I agree.
So for me, he would start.
I'm going with exactly the same team as you. No different. But I mean, left back, I'm going for Cresswell.
I would play Cresswell.
Yeah, I just cannot see Masuaku starting.
I would play Cresswell.
I'd be surprised
on the tactical basis that he doesn't go forward.
Yeah.
Like, I would sit there and say to the back four, we're playing Burnley at home tomorrow. You know, the way they set up, they're either going to play long balls into centre forward or they're going to look to counter-attack. So, Zabaleta, Cresswell, just don't go forward.
Yeah.
Because you can't say that to Masuaku. He won't sit there and defend all game.
No, he'll
Cresswell, if you say that to Cresswell, he'd be happy because he hasn't got to fucking try and run forward.
Yeah,
because I say Antonio's slow these days, but Cresswell's got like a Zimmer frame. I'm sure he's slower than Zabaleta, and Zabaleta's like nearly 50. Zabaleta's sprinting faster than Cresswell. So I would play Cresswell, but again, I think that'll be the team. The only ones I have no idea about will be the left back and the right wing.
I'm more assured for right wing. I think Diangana did so well that he will
I think
start.
He has, but will Pellegrini look at it and go, Burnley are a physical team.
Antonio,
start him up, and then if we do need then that bit of creativity in the second half, bring Diangana on, and he's got fresh legs, he can run at people. Or
Here's one for you. Would you play Antonio in front of Arnautovic?
No.
Put Antonio up front and Arnautovic just behind him?
No.
Okay.
Because he can't hold the ball up.
Well, yeah, but then
he's been to the Lukaku score first touches. Fuck me. I watched him last night. If he can actually control it, he does well because he can roll the centre back. He's done it a few times. Bring it in.
Yeah.
But that was about one every 10 touches. The other 10 touches, the second touch was And it was only because Tottenham didn't seem to work out the fact that he hasn't got a first touch that he was getting a second touch, but his second touch was about 5 foot away. And you can't play that up front. You could do it on the wing because there's always going to be someone behind you. But if you're trying to play up front and maybe not Burnley's not the best example, but say we're playing Man United and you've been under the cosh for 10 minutes and you've just got to clear the ball up, Andy Carroll or Arnautovic will bring the ball in. Even if they bring it in and they run down the wing and get tackled and the ball recycles again. But literally, Antonio, he spent more time on the floor last night. He'd take it to chest to fall over, and the ref was like, well, no, you've just fallen over and had an awful touch. Play on. Like he just gave. He can't. If he had a better touch and he had some sort of attacking intelligence, I'd play him as a centre forward. But he doesn't. He doesn't know when to run in and when to stay. He doesn't seem to jump that much anymore. But his first season, he was like the best. He had scored the most headed goals in the league, and he can't fucking head a ball anymore.
Is he a target for us getting? Is he a target for us getting rid of him in January?
I would have done it in the summer.
Yeah, but
because they said Palace wanted him.
Yeah. Do you think
I'd have gone back and said, give us 25 million, you can have fucking Czech and Antonio.
Do you think
I've done a double deal, get rid of them both.
Right. Give us your predictions, mate.
I'm going to go 3-1.
What, to Burnley?
I think we'll win 3-1.
Fuck me, that's
as long as there's no fans on the pitch.
I'm gonna go for a 2-0. I think we'll finally find our scoring boots. I predicted Anderson was going to score last week, and he I don't even think he was even on the pitch.
Snodgrass is going to score.
Snoddy and Arnie. Arnie will score on Saturday.
He probably will, yeah.
And Snoddy, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, anything else, mate?
Hope for a win. Pray for a win.
Yeah. Let's hope for a win and start getting some points on the table. Well, cheers, Matt. Subscribe to Irons United. You'll see all the links below for all our sponsors and the other people that we're involved with, supporters club, etc., etc. And come on, you Irons.
Come on, you.